David, you want to introduce us this week?
Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave. That's Scott. And oh, look, we got Mel. Mel's back. She's going to do a movie review with us of Excalibur, the 1981 classic. I don't even know where to begin with this movie. I watched it last night. And then this morning, I watched the director's commentary because I texted Mal and asked her if she had seen the thing you and I were talking about, Scott, on
Right.
Amazon. And I just chose not to watch that because it was like $5 and I don't have the time. So I didn't watch that, but I did watch the director's commentary while I was walking around and doing little things around the house. And I was very interested in some of the stuff he had to say. But who wants to roll this out? More than I just did. Anybody?
Well,
I'll take
yeah.
questions from the audience.
Let me just preface this. When Mal, when we had you on before, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you talking about driving to work with Wagner playing, and it's like, oh yeah, here's Mal driving through with the cherry blossoms falling on her shining armor of a car. Okay. So I think that last night when I see the knights running through the cherry trees, the blossoms falling, they're just glistening. It's like, is that Mel on the way to work?
That's how Mallory feels. She's like polishing up her armor. She's like,
Yeah.
Way to go.
got this. Don't worry about a thing, King Arthur.
Yeah, so we talked about that. It's like Excalibur. It's such a classic. I haven't seen this in so many years, and last time I watched it, I was probably 12 years old.
Really?
It's been that long since I've watched it. But it made such an impression because it's such a cool flick. My God, the world building that they did. Going back now and looking at all the faces. Poor Patrick Stewart in his 20s and still bald.
Yeah, he must have been only in his 20s, like maybe late 20s.
The same way with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson too. Yeah.
The guy, Nigel Terry was King Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had brought up the list, but there's a guy in there that I didn't realize who he was until in the director's cut. Look at my glasses. I have those googly eye glasses. Put them on. My eyes look really big. And the director had mentioned the guy. I want to see if he's on the IMDb list of actors because I thought it was very interesting. I was like, oh my God, that's who that is. And of course, my internet doesn't want to work as fast as I want it to.
Well, who are you trying to figure out who it is?
Not Clive Swift. It was the guy on the horse next to
That narrowed it down.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why I'm like, I can't find his name.
Was it the one during the scene, or you're with us or against us, or
when he's first? Yeah, whenever he's first saying, Patrick Stewart's like, no, he pulled the sword. He's the king. I'm with him.
Yeah.
And the guy's like hitting him, going.
Urians is the
character, right?
Urians, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can bring him up.
No, not Keith Buckley.
No, that wasn't him, because he was the one. I thought that he jumped down and knocked him off the horse.
Oh, Jesus. And let me see the.
No, there was the guys. He was mounted right next to Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. And
me,
of course, now I want to see him.
You're either with us or against us. What is it? Oh, I'm against you.
Against you, yeah.
Yeah, but
it's very interesting the amount of people that they had. Clive Swift. I don't know. You may have recognized Clive Swift, the guy who is playing Arthur's foster father.
Director, yeah.
It's the guy from Keeping Up Appearances. It's Richard. It's Richard Bucket. Have you ever seen that? Where my God, it's one of my favorite shows. So when I saw him and I realized who he was, I was like, holy crap, it's Richard. So anybody who watches this and is wondering, where they've seen Richard before, or you've been watching the series and you're like, who the hell is that guy? King Arthur's dad. Well, his stepfather. I know.
Yeah.
Useless information nobody really wants to care about.
That's one of the neat things about going back and seeing these movies. We're seeing actors who are just starting out, actors that have actually had quite a long career that is like, holy crap, you just never never realized all these people were in it. And then you see others that you never see again. It's like,
Right,
what happened
Very
to them?
true. Yeah, like I think that also says something to the work of the British actor.
Mm-hmm.
True.
You know, because in my opinion, the British actors they it's an art to them, and it's something that they
Yeah.
work on and they refine time over time. We have a couple of American actors and actresses who do that, but for the most part, it just doesn't seem like they put in the work the way that
Right.
these
No,
actors
they
do.
don't.
Well, they want a paycheck. I feel like a lot of American actors get into it because they want to be a huge star.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's good enough, I guess, for some, but it's also not the reason you do anything, you know? A $20 million a picture payday is freaking awesome. I would do
Hell
that. I would do
yeah.
one movie. I'd do one film at that and I'd be like, I'm done. See ya. And, they'd be like, what happened to him? Oh, he must have died. No, I retired. $20 million in one paycheck. I'm gone. I don't live in California. I can afford to retire. you know? But the guy's name is Karen Hines.
Oh, I love him.
Karen Hines. Yeah. And when I realized who he was, I was like, holy crap. That's because he doesn't look like Karen Hines. He's
No,
got
he
the
doesn't.
beard. His face looks a little bit more squarey, roundy in that armor and everything. And I'm like, holy crap. And when I looked at him, when the guy said his name, the director,
Hmm.
I was stunned. I was like, oh my God, you got all these actors in it. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Karen Hines, Clive Swift, Patrick Stewart, Corin Redgrave,
Hmm.
Liam Neeson, Keith Buckley, who is the guy who played Urians, who I've heard of that guy and I know he's been in other stuff. Gabriel Byrne
Yeah.
playing
Where the hell
Uther.
was he?
He was Uther.
He was Uther Pendragon.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Right. I know you don't recognize him because
I
they
didn't-
look so
No
freaking
shit.
You're like,
I
oh
got
my
scared
God.
you off.
Yeah, well, this movie was a long time ago.
Exactly. I wanted to see
Damn.
who played Paul Jeffrey. Sounds familiar. The guy who played Percival.
Mhm.
Well,
I
yeah.
know that name, but I can't place him in anything else. But I know I've seen him in other stuff, so I'm not sure what else he's done. And Nigel Terry, I don't think has done enough. And of course,
Thank you.
Helen Mirren.
She will
Okay.
forever be Morgana to me, as many
Are
other
you sure?
movies.
I didn't even realize that. I knew she was in it, and then I completely forgot. And holy
Right.
shit!
She's beautiful. She's still very.
Oh yeah, I've
much
seen
Yeah.
old pictures of her, and it's like, but
Oh yeah.
that was Helen Mirren. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
stunning.
awesome.
You've always been stunning.
Yeah. And then I think the cool thing about that is they paired her with Liam Neeson's character in the movie, and they actually ended up living together and dating
Yeah.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's walking around, teaching him how to be an actor and introducing him to people from what the director said. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
And her and Nicole Terry, the guy who played Merlin.
Nicole. Oh, that relationship.
Yeah, like when we listen to the director's cut, Scott, there's the director's just talking about stuff in general, and
Right.
he's trying to get the guy to play Merlin. The Orion or Warner Brothers like, no, we don't want this guy. He's been in 3 movies that just lost money, and he's like, no, I got to have this guy. But he looks at other people for Warner Brothers, and all of a
Right.
sudden, he's like, I can't find anybody else. This is the guy that I want. Okay, I'll do the movie. And then he says, we have Helen Mirren coming in here. I don't want to do the movie. We can't be together. We've had difficulties in the past. He goes to Helen Mirren, tells her, yes, I'll do the part. Okay, I got Nickel in there. Oh, I can't do the movie.
Oh
They
my
don't like
God.
each other. There's more going on there than just a work relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that works though. I mean, that works with their chemistry as Morgana and Merlin,
Yes.
and the
And that's what the director said. He's like, he goes, I knew this was going to work. If I could just get him in the same room, it would work.
yes, absolutely. And
He
you can
was
see that. You
absolutely
can
right.
feel that tension. You can
Oh,
feel
yeah.
Oh yeah.
that there's
And
wow.
I always just put it up to really good acting. But the good acting was them not scratching each other's eyes out.
Yeah.
Well, they were being true.
Yeah, they had actually dated in the past too, and ended
Yeah.
horribly.
Yeah.
And like Dave said, they were told, hey, you're going to be working opposite such and such. And they were just kind of like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. And like, after convincing them, like, this is going to be a big movie, you need to be a part of this.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, let's do it. And like I said, the chemistry was great. And it ended up being that later on in life, they actually reconciled.
Oh, did they? I didn't. I must have been in the other room whenever he mentions that. But that's pretty cool. I like that they reconciled.
I'll be damned.
You know?
Yeah, they reconciled before he died. So
that's nice.
Yeah, that's so that was a good thing. But yeah, you talk about chemistry between. You couldn't get hate like that from anybody else.
No.
Nobody else.
And I always put it up to just really good acting. And I loved his portrayal of Merlin.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Because Merlin's all serious, and then something stupid would happen, and he would just like have a moment like, oh my God, I just throw his hands up and then turn back around and be all stoic again. It's like, okay, I had my hissy fit.
Yeah, well, like him catching the fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I got it. Whoa. Yes. But that was a moment. He's teaching.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. Oh God, I hate this term. I freaking hate this term. But there are so many teachable moments in this movie from Merlin to Arthur.
Oh yeah.
The baptism. Let's. I don't want to get too far ahead. Let's start in the very beginning when Arthur first rides up.
Okay.
After. Well, we didn't even go back far enough, right? Because you have the entire thing with Uther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who Gabriel Byrne? It was just guys. I'm sorry to cut you off, but he was my
go ahead.
My first crush. Like,
oh yeah.
I saw this movie and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to marry Uther Pendragon. I don't care who he is, but this is the man I'm gonna marry.
He's a dog.
Yeah, but he's a really hot dog.
Yeah, you know. Those UK actors, man, you know.
It's the accent.
Yeah,
his accent when he talks like this. Wasn't he Irish? The director was talking about his Irish accent.
Yes.
So he's trying to speak with a British accent, and then all of a sudden his Dublin accent would come out, and he'd say something, and everybody would just start laughing like.
Oh God.
So true. What you were saying? Go ahead.
Oh shit! I forgot what I was saying.
The beginning of the movie,
just the very beginning when he calls out to Merlin in the first battle, and he's like, I need the sword. You promised me the sword, and Merlin's like, okay, I'll get you the sword, and he gets it for him. And you have the whole thing where you think, okay, Gabriel Byrne's going to be the good king. Uther Pendragon is going to be a really good king, and then he just gets lustful.
Oh my God!
Someone else's queen.
Oh yeah.
That's the downfall for every.
It's a hell of a dance.
King,
I mean,
it seems like
just throw the whole kingdom away for that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Here, I got the magic sword. I got the entire kingdom.
I have a truce. I want to
everything's perfect, and let me just mess it up.
Yeah. Oh look, hot chick.
Yeah.
I mean, she was okay. I mean, I don't know if I would have given up a kingdom for her if I were him. Magic sword and a kingdom. Magic sword and a kingdom. And every other woman in the kingdom.
Literally every other woman.
Anybody would want him. But yeah, I see things like that, and that's a common thread through a lot of mythos. From the Battle of Troy all the way up to Arthur, even in today's westerns and stuff. The gunslinger who's trying to be the good guy always falls in love. Or lust with somebody's married wife or sister,
and starts a whole
somebody they're not supposed to be in with, and it's a really common thread with the hero's journey, and I just find that very interesting that it's always been. It just seems to have always been a common thread. So there's something there, but when Merlin comes to take the baby away, it's like we had a deal, and Uther's like, no, you can't have the kid. He's like, no. We had a deal. You're not going to be the king that you think you're going to be. And that's when Uther's he's just destroyed. He thinks he's going to be the one to bring the lands together, and Merlin's like, no.
Not you.
Not
you. No,
he
screwed that up.
Not after what you just did. And I'm sorry to say I helped you, but I'm Merlin, and I age backwards, or I live backwards in the universe. So I knew what was going to happen anyway, so I'm taking the kid now. You can't outsmart Merlin. I'm sorry.
No.
But yeah, and then whenever he rides up, Arthur rides up behind. What's his Kay is the brother's name.
Kay is his brother,
Okay.
yes.
Father, and he rides up behind him, and he plays very stiff. His acting gets a lot looser and a little bit better as he becomes King Arthur. But initially, I thought he was really stiff when he starts talking. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that part. Like he was really, really stiff as an actor, and I don't know if it was because he was like new to it. I didn't really hear the director say anything bad about him. He's just like, yeah, he played from 16 till however old he was whenever Arthur died, and he does a really good job.
Yeah.
But I just love that most. I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But
No problem.
it seems like a lot of the legends always show that Arthur was brought up poorly, like he was always mistreated. I love how Clive Swift and the brother, they actually love him. This is my little brother, and I'm going to teach him how to be a knight. This is my son. I'm going to teach him how to be a knight. And there's an actual love there for Arthur in this version of it, in this telling of the story, and I really like that. I mean, I've read some other stories where Arthur is always for lack of a better term, the redheaded stepchild. And it's like, but
that's just a plot device to make you sympathize and like, oh, look, the magic orphan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see the father and brother actually like him. And they're just, you forgot the
Yeah.
sword. You're not supposed to forget the sword. And they chuckle about it. Go get the sword. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
We still got time. And then the brother's getting worried. He's been gone too long. I got to go find my brother. And he goes off to find the brother just in time to see him pull the sword.
Yeah.
From the stone.
Well, what's neat
and
about
the brother's like, give me that. You can't. And then the father runs up. Did you pull the sword? Yes. No. No, it was Arthur.
Yeah.
And what's neat about that scene is the sword really wasn't stolen. It was taken to lead Arthur to Excalibur. It was very, and I never caught that before. And it's like, wow, the kid who had the sword was waiting. It's like, hey, I'm over here, come on, know. And it was Merlin or the dragon calling to him.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
Or should we say the Force?
The
King Force.
I'm going to get this out of the way real quick before I forget about it.
Here we go.
The other Star Wars reference is right after the sword, and Arthur runs to Merlin. And they're there. Merlin's taking a nap, and Arthur is like freaking out, seeing snakes, and there's owls, and it reminds me of the cave that Luke went into when he went to see Master Yoda, and it's like, son of a bitch, here we go again.
But the director talks a little bit about that scene.
Yeah.
Mel, did you hear what he said there about that? It was.
I have to refresh my memory on that one.
How did he put it? He was like, I wanted all this life in this little area around Merlin in the forest to show that he was part of the land. That this was all, like for lack of a better term, this is the Force and this is Luke and this is all the land. Yeah. This is everything he's supposed to control and help. And none of the animals were running away from him. They were actually coming up to him. But it was freaking the kid out because he had no idea how to be a king.
Well, that's one of the. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think we're probably going to say the same thing, that, it's the lesson that they learn that the king and the land are one.
Yeah.
There it is, yes.
And, it's like, as he succeeds, the land prospers. Mm-hmm. When he's sick or, is defeated, things die. You're not going to get anything. And, that is a constant that you do see through the movie.
Oh, yeah. Terribly so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, getting back to your whole thing about Nigel Terry being so stiff, I thought that it was just very well played by him, because he was that awkward kid. You had Kay, who was the big blonde-haired big brother who's already a knight who's about to go into joust, and here's this scraggly kind of like Arthur.
Yeah.
You
know what? You're probably right. That makes more sense. That
Yeah.
makes more sense that's how he was playing it.
Because it threw me for a loop. I was watching, what is it? A Lion in Winter with Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, and geez, I haven't seen that in years.
Nigel Terry actually plays the heir. He's going to be the king in that. And once again, he's that little scraggly kind of wormy kid. And I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
funny.
is he getting typecast? You know,
As a king.
yeah, as a king. I mean, it's not bad that everybody sees you kingly, but like,
Right,
little ratty kind of king who,
right.
in Lion in Winter, he really didn't kind of evolve, but in Excalibur, you do see him become this great man, and you know,
Yeah,
the greatest of men in all
yeah.
actuality, you know, and I just love that. And then of course, you know, Dave will get this one when he popped up on Doctor Who. I just about lost my mind during the oh come on during the David Tennant series. Come on.
Oh shit! You're gonna have to refresh my memory now.
Shit,
Oh,
yeah. What?
oh.
Oh, I'm missing some. I know whenever you say it, I'm gonna go, oh yeah.
I'm not
But
going to give you the episode, but I'm going to let you know that he was a general. He was a bad guy in it.
With
David
David.
Tennant series.
David Tennant series. It was early on. It was like in one of his specials.
Oh, okay. So it was one of those little 1 hour
Yeah.
offshoots that they did.
hmm Yeah.
Son of a
You're going to
bitch.
have to go
Yeah.
back and look.
No, I'm
Well,
gonna
that's
have
all
to
right.
go
I can
look
always
for it.
rewatch some David
Yeah,
Tennant.
I'm stumped. I
Yes, me
know.
too.
And you know what's gonna be crappy is this minute I start watching, I'm gonna go, yeah, I knew who that was. Yeah, of course I
Because
knew.
I've seen the name before. It's just,
hmm
in Excalibur, to me, he wasn't very recognizable.
Right,
I guess because he was younger. Of course, I didn't recognize Helen Mirren either. But
right.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, and I think one of the funny things too, because you know, she was just this absolutely gorgeous force in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I loved about the director's commentary, and Dave, I'm guessing that you caught it, was when Borman was talking about it, how he said that he had the breastplate and he kept
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And his plan is to eventually give it back to her,
yeah.
you know.
He
But
left it
he's
to
like got it
her.
up in his house.
Yeah, he
Hell
left
yeah.
it to her in his will. I
Yes.
think is what he says. And
Yeah.
I thought that was very, very, that's very
That's
sweet,
cool.
that
Yeah.
they still know each other and everything.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
talks about she has a waspy waist and a voluptuous breast or something like that. He's like, and I just recently seen her, and this is back in '91, I think, when they did the commentary or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I just recently seen her, and she still has a waspy waist and a voluptuous breast. She's still very beautiful. And I was just chuckling. I'm like, oh my God. Dude, you can only talk like that about a friend, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that often anymore. So
Wow.
right on that one.
Yeah. But it was it's the director's commentary was very telling of a lot of the stuff, like the woods area where they filmed.
Mhm.
hmm
He filmed about what would he say? Was within distance of his house because he walks
Yeah.
the woods. He was still
Oh
walking the
wow.
woods at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, I could almost go home for lunch
Lunch.
whenever we
Yeah.
called break. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
great.
it's really close.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because a lot of the areas that they shot the films at were like areas really close to where he lived
Mhm.
in Ireland.
Yeah.
Because that whole film was shot in Ireland.
Yes.
Movie about Britain
In Ireland.
being filmed in Ireland back in the 80s
Yes.
at the height of the IRA. Go figure. You know?
Yeah.
And a Catholic movie at that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. You're
Very
right.
Catholic movie. Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked Morgana when she was a little girl
hmm
Mhm.
looking at Merlin as he's leaving.
Mhm.
Oh
And,
yeah, you could.
that was a nice scene. That little kid looked
Yeah.
evil. She just got those eyes
Yes.
like, are you
Well,
his
she played it
mother and
well. She
father
played it
now?
well. I
Like,
mean,
Yeah.
she had the sight. She saw. She knew that was not her
She
father
knew.
in there.
right,
Yep.
yeah.
Uh huh. And I like
Yeah.
the way, the early editing of how they did that scene
Hmm.
with the switch between Cornwall and
Right,
Uther, and how they would show Cornwall 1 second and he'd have the helmet on, but he lifted up to show his face, and then he'd go and he'd reach
Yeah.
up, and then Uther's face was there, and then it switched back.
right.
This is editing before that, it really became what it is today, and it was
hmm
on par with what we see now.
Yeah.
You
Well,
It
know,
and
was.
that's,
It was
I'm sorry,
great
go
with
ahead.
that. No, I
yeah,
would just. That's one of the things. 1981. Not a ton of CGI. You're having to use
no,
miniatures, a lot of tricks in camera, and that's one of them. A lot of stuff in the
yeah,
editing room made it all come
Hmm.
together, and it's a lot of superimposing, and
hmm
it was
Hmm.
really well done. And they had to
yeah,
really think outside the box.
Yeah, and you have to, like he talked about doing the the castle in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
and they did that with I think he said a mirror.
Yeah.
Like I always thought it was just like a painting, that it was a matte painting overlaid, and that's how they just shot it
Yeah.
through the matte painting.
Yeah.
But he used it even simpler. They made a small model of Camelot. They did some kind of reflective shot with the mirror to the camera, and just it was in the mountains.
Put it right
It was there. And so when the guys rode in front of it, they were riding in front of Camelot. So when it came up in their helmets and everything, that way it wasn't, I guess, cutting into the matte painting.
Right.
And I was like,
Okay.
that's brilliant. And I honestly thought maybe they had either a matte painting or it was a castle that they just, painted to look fancy and new or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. It was such an easy,
simple stuff.
yeah, in-camera effect.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Oh,
Yeah, it's very well done.
Mm-hmm.
And for the time, it was pretty graphic. Not anymore compared to a lot of the battle scenes.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were severed limbs. There was a lot of blood spurting, and that even all of that was well done. And we're talking this is all practical effects, no CGI, fake gore, any of that. And so it was very well done in that aspect. I mean, there's so much good about this movie, but I don't think you have Excalibur without that soundtrack.
No.
Definitely not.
You're absolutely right about that.
The whole score throughout the movie is just right on point with everything that's going. You could watch this movie with the sound off and the music playing and still just feel it. And it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like we had talked about the songs before. Like it's on my phone. So when I get in my car, I usually start the week.
I love that about you, man.
Off to battle.
Yes, completely. Like I start my week off with O Fortuna, just like that whole ride. I'm like, okay, gonna have a good week. That's my pump up song.
That's awesome.
Her arms out the window.
Yeah.
Holding a sword.
Yes, because we
lopping people's limbs off as she drives by.
We've got cherry blossoms here, and I'm dying for them to, to bloom, so I can like blast that out my windows as I drive through the cherry blossoms in the park.
Great. That
off
scene.
The trail. There goes Mal's car through the trees.
Why are you going through my apple?
The music blasting. That would be awesome. I'll look for it on TikTok.
You damn kids! Every year. Every year she drives through my.
What the hell?
Like, oh, she must be coming through again. It's that time.
She got that damn sword again.
You hear the music in the background, just getting louder and louder.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Go inside.
That is my favorite scene in the movie. Just the way they've shot it. Because those are cameras that ran on film, very heavy, and they are moving right there with the horses. I'm assuming it was somebody on horseback right in front of Arthur, facing backwards, holding that camera.
I don't know how the hell they shot that because it doesn't look. I don't know if the guy was actually on a horse. I don't know if Nigel Terry was really on a horse when they did the close-up.
It really looked. If he wasn't, it really looked like it.
Shots were.
Yeah, I'm not sure either on that one.
But it sure as hell looked like he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was well done, and just the blossoms like snow. It was just it was beautiful.
Yeah. The rebirth of the earth at that point,
I like
pretty much.
Borman talked a lot about timing, the timing to get the seasons right while he was shooting. I think he said it took him 3 years to shoot the film and edit it and get it ready. So he was always worried about the seasons because certain scenes he wanted to be bleak and wet and dirty. Like
he needed that. Yeah,
they were.
He was shooting that in the middle of winter in freaking Ireland. Ouch, cold and wet, man. It's always cold and wet. And then he talks about the heather and the other, like, he was trying to make sure that they had these pristine spots that he was fencing off and making sure nobody, stepped on him or anything.
Oh, wow.
And then so when they rode by on the horses, he wanted it that mythic look as they rode by. So yeah, that guy he really timed everything well in that.
I mean, the way you look at the movie, you have to take it as the cinematography.
Yeah.
then you take the music. And then it's like, okay, now we'll sprinkle in the actors. Because the cinematography and music, honestly, those shots alone make the movie.
Yeah. I would give you that.
And then you have the great storyline that was prepared. You know, and I mean, that just adds to it all. But, like you said before, if you didn't have the music, you would not have Excalibur. If you didn't have the scenery, you wouldn't have it either.
No.
I mean, like, even just the scene with the Lady of the Lake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how hard is it nowadays to find just some lake that's absolutely calm? No one's around anywhere. Nothing's making noise. And here comes the sword. You know, and you can get that shot. You know, they try that nowadays. They're taking out the little waves or the little ripples in the water and, you know, getting rid of this animal, maybe that person walking around in the background. Like, like you said, the timing, the way that he focused on what he wanted was just amazing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he took so much time to prepare and plan this movie and to help write the movie was just amazing to me. Did you hear who the lady in the lake was?
Yes. Wait. She was the synchronized swimmer, right?
Nope. It was one of his daughters. It was another daughter.
It was the other daughter.
Really?
It was the other daughter. Because he was trying to find he was trying to find somebody to get in the water when Arthur's sword gets broken, fighting Lancelot, and he takes the sword and he throws it into the water. He's trying to find a woman to be the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find anybody. So he asked his daughter. Now his daughter, and that one shot is a kind of a far shot where you see the Lady in the Lake laying in the distance. That's her in the water. Actually in the freaking water in that goddamn river. And I'm like, she must have really loved her dad.
Yeah.
I would have tried to kiss my rear end. Because the water was so cold. It was like right early spring, I think, at that point, he says.
Yeah.
So the water was freezing coming off that waterfall. And I'm like, oh, she must have really loved you, Dad, because I would have told you to kiss my butt.
I know, she's probably sitting here going, well, my sister got to be the queen. I guess I'll be the Lady of the Lake, you know. Might as well.
That's funny.
You know.
He put a lot of his family members in this.
Of course.
Young Mordred was his 12-year-old son.
Yep.
And the voice of Mordred was his daughter. Because he wanted to give it like that eerie...
It worked.
Like Mordred, that really weird, creepy vibe. And it worked perfectly. I just thought it was the boys doing like a low voice when he's talking like this. But it was his daughter doing that voice. And I was like, that worked. She dubbed perfectly.
Yeah.
Because I would have just thought it was the boy doing the weird, voice.
Yeah, no. That was definitely one of the things that creeped me out the most was little Mordred.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a creepy kid.
It was, and he played it so well. Just, and I think what also kind of added to his creepiness was his armor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a chair.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and the helmet comes over, and you just see like
the lower part.
Oh, that's creepy. Yeah. That is creepy.
And then, like when they age him, and it's almost the same exact armor on an older Mordred and Morgana not aging. It's like okay, what's kind of yes, yet is the big thing.
That's creepy.
That whole the gold armor, like you see everybody else in this shiny silver, and here he is in this just really it's like it gives me the Shining chills every time that I look at it, because it's just like it just goes right down my spine. I'm going, like that's wrong. No,
right? No, you're right.
No, so it's
a creepy character.
Done so well. Well.
The guy who played him as an adult played him just like you just want to slap him. You just want to Mordred slap. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a product of Morgana.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she had an axe to grind, and
Oh, did she?
It's yeah.
She was using her kid as the sharpening stone, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She was,
Yeah.
and it's interesting that she seemed to have a hatred for Arthur, but yet Arthur had nothing to do with what happened to her.
No, she did it.
Yeah, everything she did to herself.
I know, yeah. And there's another lesson.
Yep.
There you go.
Because Merlin knew she was going to do this shit, so everything she did. Yep, and he was able to trick her. She ended up making him more powerful, and he was able to trick her in the end till she turned out into a hideous hag, and then, of course, Mordred choked the bitch.
She's going to choke a bitch out.
And yes, he really did with that one. I was like, yeah, that's one of those scenes where you see him choking her, and, like, you don't breathe. Because it just looks like...
Yeah.
And I feel like when he's doing that and he's just squeezing tighter and tighter, it's like everything you've told me this whole time has been a lie. But now I have to live out this lie.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's not like he can run over and go, hey, Dad, let's break this up. My bad.
No, because then you wouldn't have a movie.
Exactly.
That's not how it ends, son.
Yeah,
it's not how it's going to end.
Not at all.
I liked... In this movie, there is a lot of telltale signs into Christianity. The baptism of Arthur, which is where I started earlier, and then I was like, no, I got to go back. But when Arthur has the one night in the water is a very powerful tool to use in a situation like that. He's got the night and he says, do you yield or, I'll give you mercy. And the guy's like, I'll not ask for mercy from
a squire,
a peasant, a squire. Yeah. And so Arthur gives him the sword and says, okay, make me a knight. That's a baptism. That's an absolute baptism. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this guy's going to try and chop off Arthur's head, but he can't. The sword won't let him. And at that point, that guy knows, shit, this guy is the king. He's the chosen one.
Yes.
And he does the, you're a knight and blah, blah, blah. And then King Arthur stands up and everybody's like, oh, well, we all stopped fighting. Oops.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
It was a very, very nice showing of a baptism.
Yes.
I'm out with the old Arthur, in with the new. I'm the king now. Mm-hmm. And everybody else is like, okay, the old ways are dying and we have a new way now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which that's just so relevant. Like it's baptism to a T, a rebirth.
Right.
Well, there's so much symbolism and metaphor in this movie. When you watch it, it's like, oh my God, it's it's just layers and layers of stuff, and it's you get to Guinevere. And here we go again. Here's a woman who I'm not going to say caused all of this, but it's men's lust again.
Right.
But she, in this particular telling, she does tell Arthur eventually that, I loved you as my king and sometimes as my husband. So, it was, I guess, a marriage of convenience or whatever at the time, but she really, really had the hots for Lancelot. But Arthur giving in, to that, he didn't go kill him, but he gave up the sword, he was devastated, and the land again turned and reflected that. And he sent his knights off on this quest for the Holy Grail. And I have to back up. Okay, so when they come across Lancelot, there's the bridge and the knights are failing. I'm just fully expecting the Black Knight there. You can't beat me.
Just got a flesh wound.
Oh my God! I do have to go watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail after watching this, because it was like, oh shit, here it is. Here it is.
They return to Camelot. No, Camelot is a silly place.
Yes.
There's a couple more than once did I have that feeling like, oh, this is wait for the joke, wait for the other shoe to fall. I kept
And
waiting
it just
for
shows you
Merlin
how
to
much
go
the
in.
Monty Python took from that.
Influence. Yes.
I kept waiting for Merlin to ask the weight of a sparrow.
Laden or unladen or what? African or European or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I kept waiting for that to come up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they did
yeah,
not. They actually had horses. They didn't have coconuts, so we were good.
Yes. And we can give them that. And no horses were hurt during the filming, although in that battle,
Yeah.
a couple of horses definitely looked like they got taken out. But
Right.
I wanted to go back to the whole thing with Lancelot and Guinevere,
Mm-hmm.
because you see it start off so early when he's escorting her to the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And, she trots up to him and she goes, they're trying to figure out which one of them can win your heart. And he goes, none of them can. And she's like, oh, come on. Who then? And he's like, you. And she goes, surely you're teasing me. And he says, no, I love you and I will only love you and no other for as long as I live. And you just see her kind of stop on the horse and he takes off and she's like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
Right.
And, she's like, kind of already committed to this. I got to do it.
Right.
What am I going to do? And, you just see it kind of progress to the point where, then later on they're accused of the affair.
Yeah.
And they haven't done anything.
Rightfully so.
No, but they hadn't done anything at that point. That was the crazy.
No, but everybody saw it.
Yeah,
They saw
everybody
it coming,
saw it.
yeah. On the freight train.
And
Everybody but Arthur.
everybody just went right over his head. He's running the whole world, so I guess I got to give that to him.
He's being king of the planet. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and Lancelot was taking his regular trip out to the woods, and he has that scene where he fights with himself.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are so many just references to life, metaphors, that whole thing, and like that internal struggle that everybody is always having with himself over one thing or another. And he literally falls on his own sword.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, the love of his king meant more to him than the love of the woman.
Right.
Yeah.
He literally tried to kill himself.
Yeah, he did. And it didn't work. And it just came down to, you may think it's time for you to go, but there's still parts that you have to play in this story.
Yeah.
And, then, like you said, Arthur standing over the two of them after they finally do sleep together, and he has the time and the chance because they don't hear him. He could have easily killed the both of them. And he knew that it would give them more hurt knowing that he saw them together and he would rather not be king than see them together.
Yeah,
And,
you could see the pain in Arthur's face. That actor
Oh, yeah.
played-
oh, God.
That to me was that moment where he's got the sword up and you're just like, this is gonna end badly. No matter what he does, this is gonna end really badly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, being a kid and watching this, because I think the first time I watched, I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. And, because I always loved stories of King Arthur. And I can remember seeing this scene and going, he's going to kill him. He's definitely going to kill him. Because that's what everybody's expecting.
Yeah.
And then here he is. I'm going to throw everything for a loop. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to let you guys suffer. Suffering is going to be a lot more than death.
And for Lancelot, it was instantaneous.
Yes.
A
Gone.
king without a sword, a land without a king, and he just runs off.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that was the last time he saw her.
Yeah, literally.
She went to a convent.
Yeah, she went to a convent.
That must have been one heck of a thing to make it go,
Damn.
yeah.
Ain't nothing going to top that but God. All right.
Right. Here's always been my thought on this story as far as that portion of the Arthurian legend. And I'm going to sound really woke here. Sorry, but I'm going to say it. It always seems
okay?
like, yeah. Sorry, I apologize to everyone in advance. But it seems like a lot of stories of this type always have to have the woman villain. And it was almost like they that Morgana wasn't enough. So now we're going to take a woman that you trust and we're going to flip it and make her a bad guy. Like she's doing you an evil. I know there are stories out there where they never have the affair. I know that I've read stories where that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Arthur, and I don't know that she ever goes to a convent, even in those stories, but it works. For me, it would always work better. If I were to rewrite it, I would try and find one of those older legends where she doesn't have the affair. Because I think his plate is full with Morgana. I mean, the whole world's coming to an end because of Morgana anyway. I just feel like that was one of those stories that was written. Somebody had a problem with women in their life at that point, or just decided women can't be good too. Or, I don't know what the problem is. But that seems to happen a lot in legends. Like the women are always the bad ones, and I think it has to do with the point of view of the teller.
Yeah.
So if that helps, I don't know if I make sense or not, but I
no,
just
you do, and that's
I know
not
there
that
are
woke.
myths out there where that the Guinevere and Lancelot don't have the affair.
Yeah.
There's,
That's not always a thing.
there's I mean, this one was based on Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. So, you know, during that time, there was always the love triangles.
Right.
When this was written. So, of course, for excitement in the story, you're going to put it in.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I mean, you take something like another Arthur story, The Mist of Avalon.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever read that book, if you haven't, you really should.
It's probably been 20 years since I've read it. If I finished it, I'll be not shocked. But it's just one of those books that I know I have in my library. I'm sure I read it.
It's so well worth the read because it's the tale of Arthur told from the woman's point of view.
Oh, okay.
So it's got the Lady of the Lake, who is an actual woman who walks the face of the earth. It's got Morgan. I think she goes by Morgan Le Fay in that.
Yeah,
and
Le Fay.
You know, I'm trying to think. There was a third sister, and right now her name is leaving me, but they're all sisters pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Story, and it's how these three women helped shape everything. And Morgan's not really seen as the bad girl in this because they take Mordred, and he's like the king of the Saxons, who in that point were really rebels and just trying to wipe out England.
Right.
So it takes out that fight, you know. So there's a lot of different stories out there, and I mean, we'll never really know which one is the right one.
Yeah.
But I think that this is probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, this
is put out there.
I like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what I like about this one is you're right. There's lots of stories out of there, and this one brings a level of fantasy that some of the others don't. This has actual magic, and you got the love triangle and everything. One of my favorite versions is from 2004 with Clive Owen. King Arthur. And it shows him as a Roman soldier, and there's no love triangle there. They hint at it that it could have been, but Lancelot dies. But and Guinevere's a badass. So, but with that, it's very actual. There's no actual magic. There's no real wizardry. There's none of this stuff, and it's more of a historical fiction take. And it's basically, yes, it's the same story, but man, when you watch the two of them, they are so different. It's like two different, completely different movies. But if you, on a fantastical take, Excalibur is just, it's so filled with, I don't know, hell, the sword even glows green like a lightsaber. There we go.
He talks a lot about that in the director's cut, about why they were doing certain things with the lighting and stuff like that.
Oh, they did a lot of lighting in this. Oh my God.
And it's all for particular reasons, like showing the old ways, going into the new ways, going back to the old way. It's just so
well, Merlin
done.
talks about that too. It says like his time is done. It's now the time of men, and
The time of
that's
the one God.
interesting.
What the time of the one God
The old gods are gone,
is
or
upon us, and the old
yeah.
gods are leaving, or something like that. And it's like, wow, that's very telling.
Mm-hmm.
Very telling on his part.
This movie is a giant ball of metaphors and symbolism,
and never slapping you in the head with it.
No.
Not like a fish.
No, not like a fish. Slapping you in the face like a fish, like a cod.
Like a cod. Nothing like having a cod slapped across your face.
But
I'm not touching that one. Not touching that. No.
No, that smells a bit fishy.
Dun, 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 dun. Good night, everybody. Yeah, it was really well written. Nothing was beating you over the head.
No.
Like, this is probably the third time I've seen it. I should probably watch it more often because I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to go on my regular once a year rotation because I just
yeah.
so well.
Nice.
It's so well written and it's so well acted, and there's so many names in it that weren't names at the time and just have exploded over the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is a metaphor. Everything in this movie is a metaphor. Everything is talking about humanity. Everything is talking about why you should do something, why you shouldn't do things, other things. The baptism of Percival when he's in the water going under, and he starts ripping off his armor. He's no longer a knight. He's not the knight that he was.
Yeah.
It's not what he wanted. He had a bigger quest, and when he comes out, he's out of the water. Again, it's a water. It's the water is cleansing the soul. The water is cleansing him. He's out, and he knows the answer. He knows the answer to the riddle that he's been asked.
What is your
for the
favorite
last
color?
10 years. what is the weight of a sparrow?
You know what? Y'all are crazy.
Freaking Merlin.
Tim. His name was Tim.
Oh my God.
Oh, goodness.
I kept expecting gnashing teeth. Kept expecting for a bunny to show up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I okay. Just lost that train of thought. Nope, got it back. Okay. When you were because now I have Monty Python all through my head right now.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not getting sucked in. I'm not getting sucked into that. I did like, geez, when they send all of them out on the trail for the Holy Grail.
Right.
You know, you've got these aging knights who are now 50, maybe 60.
Probably, yeah.
You know, somewhere around there. They were just figuring like, all right, I'm going to be able to retire. I can put on my armor every day, go kneel before God, kneel before my king, and then, go back home.
Yeah.
And it's like, now go forth, find the grail. And you could all see him kind of go like, especially when Morgana was giving birth to Mordred.
Right.
Arthur gets struck with the lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're all on their knees, and it's like they see this lightning, and they just kind of go, was he dead?
Yeah. What happened?
I mean, if he's gone, we can make do with this, And they're like, no, he lives. And they're like, all right. And then he says, go out. They're like, God, we know something's coming now.
There goes my retirement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they've got to go out and find the grail. And, it's like, where do you look? Where do you search? And they search everywhere.
Well, that's what Percival's the only one. Yeah, I'm sorry. I overstepped your comment.
Oh, no. God.
Yeah, Percival was the only one who asked the question.
Yeah.
Where do we look?
Mm-hmm. He was.
And he had no answer.
And because the rest of them had checked out. They were like, all right, we'll go ride around for a little bit and we'll come back and say we couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just, I mean, there were ones you could see who were very loyal to Arthur, and then there were ones like Uri's, where he couldn't trust Arthur at first. He laughed at him. He said, I'm going to kneel before a squire?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's out there searching because he knows that this is what will bring his king back.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had the other ones once Percival passed out. He opens his eyes and he's in Morgana's arms and he starts rambling off these names. And they're like, oh yeah, they've all joined us. Because it's like, let's take the easier route.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what that was.
Yeah. It's like, we know that there's no grail. We know we're never going to find it. Mm-hmm. So we might as well eat, drink, and be merry here than
might as well live.
On. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and Percival was just kind of like, no, that's not what we were told to do. You know, and that's why, in my opinion, I think that's what made Percival a greater knight than Lancelot.
Oh yeah, Percival is absolutely the truer of spirit than any of the knights.
Yeah, like he's a guy who was going to stand in for the queen because Lancelot hadn't shown up yet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like, I'll do it. Nobody else is going to do it. He's like looking all around like, y'all, this is your queen. Nobody's going to defend her.
And I think that's what he was thinking. Like, well, Lancelot brought me here, so I have to stand in for Lancelot. Because none of you guys are doing what you're supposed to do. Any one of you guys should have stood forward. All of you at once should have stepped forward. You know, at that point.
Yeah.
But they all knew. They all knew what they had in their heart. Now, whether it didn't happen yet or not, but they
knew it was coming.
They could see it.
Oh yeah.
You know, they saw what was going to happen if it hadn't happened already. So, but this guy was just like, no, this is my queen. You know, I'm not going to let somebody insult her. I don't care if it is a knight that's going to kill me in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then for him to persevere through everything that he's gone through. The winters, the land. I mean, when he walks up to that one night at the little stone.
Who's frozen.
And the guy's just frozen and rotten. It's like, oh my God, these guys have been out here for a long time. Turns out, 10 years they were gone?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Something like that.
10 years. 10,
so he was probably the youngest of the knights.
Oh, he by far.
Yeah. So he was probably in his late 20s, early 30s by the time he gets back.
Yeah.
Aged badly because of the what he's been through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was there by Arthur's side to the very end.
Yeah.
And that's a good character arc for him.
I do have to laugh when we get to the end and Percival's tasked with throwing the sword in the lake.
Yeah.
He rides and he rides and he rides. Nope, comes all the way back and then has to go back
out.
Right. See, I always thought that happened 3 times. I thought Percival went out, came back, went out, came back, and then threw it in the 3rd time. That's how I remember reading the story when I was younger. Maybe I read a different story or a different version of it.
Yeah.
But it's very telling that Percival's like, no, I can't. You can't get rid of the sword. You're the king, and the king's like, no, this is for the future. This isn't even us anymore. You know, our time has ended.
Yeah. I mean, Arthur had such a great line in that when he says, my king Excalibur can't be lost, and he said, do as I say. One day a king will come and the sword will rise again. Right. And it's like, you wanted to believe what he was saying. And you were like, okay, that should be enough to give Percival the hope that he'll throw it in and maybe a couple of years later somebody will come through.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I really think that's kind of what changed his mind. Because, when he took it out the first time, when he got there, and he pulls it out and he's looking at it and he's going, no, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just no. And, he puts it back in, he rides back, and he's like, okay, so tell me what you saw. He's like, I saw the wind on the water. And it's like Arthur becomes his father at that point.
Yeah.
What did I tell you to do?
I told you
had one job and you didn't do it.
Go do what I told you to do.
Yeah. It's like, go throw the sword in the lake and then come back. I'll still be here.
Yeah.
And, of course, yeah, exactly. Well, the second time, of course, like, had he thrown it in the first time, would he have had more time with Arthur to maybe get some of his wisdom?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, it really is, because at that point, a chunk of Arthur had already been carved out by the spear of Mordred, and he was already crawling to try and find a spot to die.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where I don't think Arthur could rest until he knew that the sword was where it should have been.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he knew that he didn't throw it in
Yeah.
already because he hadn't died.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
He didn't die yet.
And that
Exactly.
And
brings to the
that's pretty telling.
yeah, the final scene there of Arthur's body on the boat sailing off is another
Hmm.
symbolic scene.
Yeah.
This I
Oh
mean
yeah.
this whole thing is symbolism like
Did
crazy.
did
Yeah.
either of you see the hobbits on that boat? The little hobbits going over the. No, just me. Never.
Because like now I'm sitting here going, were there hobbits? Did I
I
miss
was
it?
like, I didn't see no midgets.
You're in timeout. You're in
We
timeout.
watched that a few weeks ago, David. The little people in the
I'm sorry.
tiny town.
Yeah, the tiny,
So
tiny terror
funny.
of Tiny Town.
Oh, that's it. We need Excalibur, King Arthur done with little people.
Midgets
Yes.
in the Lollipop Guild. I'm going to hell.
And I'm really trying not to laugh. I'm really
Oh, go
trying.
right ahead. We did a review,
Yeah.
Mal, of a midget western,
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that one? I'm
Called
gonna
The
have to go
Terror of
back and watch.
Tiny Town.
The Terror of Tiny Town.
I missed that one. Oh
It
my
isn't.
gosh.
It's not up yet.
Mm.
Yeah, we haven't
Okay,
posted.
good. I was like,
It'll be
that.
right before we post this one.
Oh,
It'll
good.
be
A nice little
it
intro.
was just last week, I think, wasn't it? Or was it
Was
2 weeks
it?
ago?
No. Yeah. No. I
You
don't
have to
know.
write that down.
Oh,
No.
it's
It
what did we do
was.
last week? I've
It was
totally
something you
lost.
picked that was supposed to be good, but supposed to be
No, it
bad,
was
but it
supposed to
turned
be
out being
bad, but it
good.
turned out to be better than we thought.
It was. It was a Japanese superhero movie.
Oh, that's it. The Evil Brain from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Oh,
What does that
okay.
title tell you, Mel? How good a movie could that possibly be?
Better than
Probably.
you think.
Oh, look, if you want to do one that really is bad, watch Velocipaster.
Oh my God! I know just the whole concept
Velocipaster?
behind it. Yes, it's an exorcist who's part dinosaur.
After his
It's fairly
parents died.
new.
Yeah, you could tell that this was some film school's final project.
Velocipaster.
Velocipaster.
Just the title alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
It
thought
is
for
no
sure.
Excalibur. I haven't seen it, but I guarantee it does not
Oh no.
get to the level of John Borman.
It's about 110 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Oh God,
I'm so sorry.
that's
Oh,
good.
it's all right.
That's,
I tortured Kaylin with it too, so you know.
there you go.
You want
As
with
long as
it,
you can torture a
yes.
sister with a movie, you're okay.
Always, always, always.
What I liked is about Excalibur, real quick, and I just remembered it, is when Borman they were setting up for like the final battle scene, and he had the helicopter in the styroplastine Stonehenge on the mountaintop because he wanted this view, and it's really beautiful. And he's going up to the henge to kind of inspect it and look at it and just admire, his idea. And some American tourists drive up. And they're looking at their tour guide map, and they're looking at the henge, and they're looking at the tour guide. They're like,
Oh.
"This isn't on any map. What is this?" And he had to go out there and explain to them that it wasn't real, because even when you're looking at the thing, it looks like it could be real stone, and especially when you're off a little ways. I mean, that thing looks solid as Stonehenge itself.
I honestly thought you were going to tell me it was only 18 inches tall. Shit.
The soldiers keep tripping over Stonehenge, man.
We have lost complete control now. Yes.
I had to throw a Spinal Tap reference. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so anyway, Mal, go right ahead.
I actually had a question for the two of you and your thoughts on this. In that final battle, when they're getting their butts kicked and all of a sudden Lancelot comes back.
Right.
Do you think he was doing it out of guilt or was he looking for redemption?
A little.
I think he wanted redemption. because as he was dying, he was still asking Arthur for forgiveness, or it
Mhm.
seemed like he wanted to hear that from Arthur. And he had a wound that never healed.
Yeah, this is true. He was
Yeah,
still wounded by the side. It never healed.
yeah, yeah,
I think it was a
Which,
little of both. I
yeah.
think he felt the guilt
hmm
oh yeah,
for what he had done
Oh,
to his king
he should.
and his
that, yeah,
friend. But again, that guilt is what was driving for his redemption. And like
Yeah,
Scott said, he
hmm
wanted to hear that he was forgiven. He
yeah,
yeah,
needed that before he could die.
yeah,
And when he saw what happened to Percival, and he's watching Percival go, I think he had made his decision to go put on the armor at that point.
yeah,
hmm
When he realized, oh crap, this is my old friend. This is Percival. What have I
yeah,
just done?
hmm
But boy, he's a hard one to kill. Even at 50, 55, how old he was
yeah.
supposed to be at that point.
Just a
yeah.
flesh wound.
That,
It is but a flesh wound. And he was dressed like the Black Knight. Let's be
he
honest.
was,
He's in
yes.
black armor, so
I was really trying to figure out where he got the studded black armor from for
all he
that.
had to do is kill somebody and go to a leather shop.
That,
Very true, very true.
I
You
feel
know,
splendid in my leather, my
yeah,
spiky
I was waiting.
armor.
There's a joke there.
But yeah, boy, he came through those guys like a whirlwind.
yeah,
He's got a
Hmm.
sword in one hand and what was that, a battle hammer in the other, and he's just
Yeah,
yeah.
those guys were falling like tumbleweeds, man.
Yeah, yeah, they were. And I think I liked that part, because once again the music played a
Hmm.
big part in it. You
Yeah,
know, it starts off with this fog,
yeah.
and they're like, "Where are they?" And the one guy goes, "Listen." And
Hmm.
then you hear them trotting on the horse, and they said they won't be able to tell our numbers in the fog. And he
Right,
goes, "We'll use the old ways, speed of horse." And then the
right.
music just blares, and it's like you're right there with them, and like
Yeah,
you're like, ah, you're doing your old battle scream,
yeah, yeah.
just to be with them and give them the encouragement that they needed or that you
Hmm.
wanted to give them,
You want to be on a
hoping,
horse with them.
yeah,
yeah,
and that music just plays out, plays out, plays out, and then it dies, and all you hear is the fighting.
Hmm.
And then they're getting their butts kicked, and the guys are like going like this because their helmets have been knocked off. They're trying to protect their heads, and they see Lancelot. And that music starts up again, and it's like
Hmm.
you just get that whole surge again of like,
hmm,
they're gonna win,
Yeah.
and
We've got a chance.
yes, we're in this now. And I mean, had you done that scene with no sound,
Hmm.
oh, it would have never.
it would have never flied.
No,
There would have
it's
been no way around it.
Hmm.
sound is very crucial
Yeah,
to movies.
Right,
yeah. And
right.
this is, I know that they were Oscar nominated for cinematography, but I think sound alone they
Hmm.
should have won. And the fact that they didn't, just it kills me. I'm like,
Yeah.
WTF?
Right, right.
Not give them that.
Well,
It's,
you're talking about that scene, and I have to laugh because they're like, listen. And now I'm sitting on my couch and I'm hearing the music. I'm thinking, dummy, don't you hear the music starting? They coming.
yeah. You guys are about to get your ass handed to you.
Listen.
Yeah, yeah,
I really like that scene because the bad guys are all looking towards camera. They're all like, here they're expecting them to come in one
Hmm.
direction. They're like, and then the other guy's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Like,
Yeah.
mhm.
where are they at? We don't know where. And then all of a sudden they're coming in from behind them, and they're like, ah, shit.
Turn
They
around.
didn't see this coming. I mean, they just slaughtered a whole bunch of those guys real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
and it comes to experience, the experience
Yeah.
of the knights, and when you really think about it at that point, when Arthur starts off as king, he maybe only had 5 or 6 knights, if you really
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
there
it
weren't
back
that many
then.
Yep.
guys.
No, and it wasn't until they had that big big celebration after the war that they had just won, and he was talking
Hmm.
about how he was going to build Camelot and he was going to get
Right.
married, and you see he's amassed this army,
Hmm.
Yeah.
these men who are willing to follow him because they
Mm-hmm.
know that he's a man with a good heart.
Right.
Hmm.
And I think the part that really gets me about that, not the speech, not anything else, but when he goes Knights of the Round Table, and
Mm.
they didn't even have the Round Table yet at that point,
Right.
and they just all take their swords and they put them up
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ah, like
Right.
you want to find your own friends and your own knights to do that with.
Yeah. Right. Right. It gives you. This is a story that I think inspires everyone.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't see anybody from any walk of life, whether you're an American, Russian, I don't know, Mongolian. If you read this story, the whole story itself is a hero's journey. It's
Yes.
just
Yeah,
it could be anybody. It
yeah,
could be any group of people doing great things for the right reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I get out of the Arthur legend.
Yeah. It's one of those
Plus you got
stories that have
kick-ass
been.
armor.
Yeah. It's one of those stories that have been done multiple times, just different ways, different.
Hmm.
And it's good. It works. It
Hmm.
Yeah.
works. And the way this was put together with the love and the expertise of the director and all the people involved
Hmm.
made something really special. It's
Yeah.
yes, it may be the same type of thing that's been done over and over, but nobody has done Excalibur over. So
No. God, I
No,
hope they never
and
do. I hope
better
no, they
not.
Sauron
won't.
ever
They
goes,
can't.
hey, let's go redo Excalibur. We can do it better. No, you can't.
No,
You
No.
thankfully
can't do this
they've
movie
they've
better.
went and made their own takes on
Hmm.
Arthur, which is
Because
great. Go for it.
it's
Yeah,
such a
It's a
big
myth.
story.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's you can go do what you want to it, and that's
Hmm.
good. This is a great telling of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite telling of the story
Hmm.
in general.
Agreed. Yeah.
Really, for me, for growing up and watching all the Arthur tales that I watched,
Hmm.
the black and white stuff, and all the way up to this movie was for me the penultimate in the motion picture wise anyway of the tale. I can watch other tales. There was one with Sean Connery and
First night.
yeah, First Night.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Hmm.
good telling. I like that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think Guinevere doesn't. I don't think Guinevere and Lancelot do anything in that one either.
They
Do
do.
they? They
They
do?
do. They do.
Okay, because it had been such a long time since I seen it, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
Richard Gere was Lancelot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, that already gives me pause.
no, it's actually a pretty good movie. I
He
mean,
was
I've
good.
seen it, but
you
it's
Yeah.
like,
got
hey,
Sean
Richard Gere
Connery
is
as
a
King
knight.
Arthur. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Sean
Yeah.
Connery, he could have played anything.
Yeah.
come along, Guinevere,
Yeah.
give me my car. I'm just gonna call you Moneypenny from now on.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Jeez.
about it.
So on that note, Mal,
Uh,
give us your final thoughts on Excalibur.
oh, I honestly, Dave just kind of set it up already. It's, in my opinion, the best one out there. Hands down, past, present, and future. Uh, just, I don't think it gets enough credit,
No, no.
as what it truly is. And it's something that you are sucked in from the minute that you hear that opening line
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
of music to where you hear that ending. And it's like, it's one of those movies where there's so many parts, and if one part is off in this movie, the
Hmm.
whole movie would have been ruined.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of the greatest works of filmography, in my opinion, because it really truly has it all.
Hmm.
And you said you're going to add it to your yearly watch. I think I'm up to maybe watching it every month. Just because it's that good.
Yeah, it is.
It's wonderful.
Scott and I have talked about movies that you watch because they're so well made and you can learn things from.
Hmm.
This is one of those movies,
Yeah.
especially
Absolutely.
if you listen to the director's commentary as he speaks of how and why he did things, his timing of
Hmm.
the apple blossoms, his timing of the bluebells coming
Hmm.
up. He literally, I don't know how the hell, I wouldn't even know where to begin to look up, when is this stuff going to bloom? Okay, well, this is when we got to go film. But he took
Yeah.
the time to go, this is the scene and this is why it's happening. This is the scene and this is why it's he took the time to plan all that out and then had the cinematographer be able to pull it off. Say, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. This is my shot. Can you do it? Yeah, I can do that. Right, mate, let's move on next. Ain't no tea breaks today, mate. Get up here. Just imagine that's how they all sounded on set.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's everything that happened in this movie happened for a reason. And a lot of filmmakers lose sight of that. Oh, it would be cool if we do this, and nobody ever stops and says, why? Why would you do that? I don't know, because it looked cool. But why?
Yeah.
Everything in this movie had a why that could be answered. Everything needed to be a certain way, and it is a great piece of filmography. It's a great piece of work. All the parts go together. It's an enjoyable movie, and if you don't like this movie, there's something fucking wrong with your head. Bottom line.
Yeah, you're mental or something.
Yeah, I'm going to get my old man on with this. Get off my lawn. Stop listening to the podcast. Excalibur's great, okay? Jeez. Back in my day, we only had one channel, and Excalibur was on it. Damn.
Ooh, okay.
But anyway.
Back in my day, we had Excalibur, and we liked it.
I love it for the reasons that both of you all mentioned. It's not my favorite Arthurian telling. I do favor the 2004 Clive Owen one.
I'm going to have to watch
that. I like it.
I don't know if I see the whole thing. I know of it.
It's good.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. This is a great movie all around. Not just a great Arthur telling, but just the music, the cinematography, all of it is it's just well done. So our recommendations are watch this shit.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a good movie, folks. You could do a lot worse. I know Scott and I watch bad movies, and Mallory's going to have to come back one day and watch a really bad movie with us. That's an old, really bad movie.
Oh boy.
One day.
Let me know.
Yeah, it'll be a really bad movie. I keep trying to find really bad movies.
Amazon has a pretty good list.
Yeah, well, when we picked out, I literally was looking for one bad movie, and we had talked about it, is The Devil Girls from Mars. I picked that movie out, I'm thinking, this title, God, this is a given.
It's a great movie.
It turned out to be a really good movie.
The Devil Girls from Mars?
Devil Girl from Mars.
Girl from Mars.
It is
I'm
really
writing
good.
this down. All right.
It gives me, there's a scene where the main character's coming down off of her ship, and she's walking down the ramp, and the first thing I thought of was, that's Darth Vader walking down the ramp.
Huh.
She's tall, she's willowy, but she's all dressed
all
in black with the thing. And I'm like, this is the whole movie. I mean, other than the robot, was really about the worst thing. I mean, there's a couple of points where you're like, that wouldn't happen. But, like, why would any guy fight her?
Yeah.
When you watch the movie, just
you'll understand.
Let me know what you think, because I just got it out.
I'll watch it this week.
It turned out to be really good. We tried for a bad movie, and it's like Dave and I got on here. It's like, I really like this movie. It has become one of my favorites. It is really good.
Really?
The acting is top notch. The cast is what really make this movie, and it's like, wow, that was decent.
The plot's thin. The motivations of the men a little thin. I mean, I can't imagine any single guy back in 1942 fighting this chick. And when you watch the movie, you'll go, why would any guy back in 1942 fight this woman?
Fight this? Really? Okay.
It's just, it's pretty good. And then after you watch it, go back and watch what me and Scott had to say about it. And I just want to know if you agree. I mean, because it's interesting just to know. Because I know how I feel.
We may be crazy.
I might be nuts. You might look at me and go, Dave, that was the worst piece of tripe I've ever seen in my life.
No. That's called the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yes. Oh, God. That's horrible. Oh, it hurts my heart to have had to watch that.
That bar has been put on the floor, so we have yet to get under it.
I think that's the problem. We tanked that mother. It's underground. That bar is so low, it's underground.
Yeah.
And I've been looking for something ever since to get underneath it.
Right. So I want to put this
anything.
out to our listeners and our watchers. If you have something that's worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special, hit me up. Send me an email. Let's watch it. You can find us everywhere.
80s and before.
Yes, 80s
Try
and
and keep
before,
it in
please.
The 80s. That's kind of our thing, our niche.
Yeah. The old ass refers to the movies, not just us.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway,
thanks for the clarification.
We were gonna call it Two Grumpy Ass Men, but we decided not to. You sounded weird.
Yeah, that might have been confused with Two Girls, One Cup. And...
Yeah. Oh God, you got to edit that part
out. Wow.
Here's something me and Scott never do. I can't even. I'm afraid to say this now. After that line.
Oh, wow.
Oh, never mind.
Welcome, Mal.
I'll get you up on the next episode. I was going to ask people to thumbs up and follow.
I was trying to figure out how to get more watchers, Dave. I thought we would just try it once. Surely there's an audience for that.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, thanks again for tuning in. Mal, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed having you.
For putting up with us.
Always.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It really
love you, Dale.
I love you guys.
All right. Everybody be sure and tune in next week when Dave tries again to find something horrible.
I'm still looking. I'll find something.
Until next time, we'll catch you later.